Ghost Song, and today I will be reading to you from Sticky Notes and Trinkets by Rainbow Star _772. That's me. Now, on to Chapter 23. Rule number 12. Muscle isn't always visible. Russia smiled a bit, finding the pins his gift-giver had given him cute. Though it still frustrated him that he didn't know who they were. He shook his head to clear his thoughts as he collected the book from his locker and then closed the locker. He headed towards room number 126. He then leaned on the wall, looking over to see if he could find anyone in the hallway. Maybe he could figure out who was giving him these gifts. He spent the last few minutes before the halls flooded with people attempting to spot the person. He didn't care who it was, he just wanted to let them down gently. Their intentions seemed pretty damn clearly romantic. And they had been since the rose candles. He needed to find them so they were less hurt. He already had someone he was interested in, and the sooner he could break it to the person, the better. He may not know this artsy person, but they definitely deserved someone who was actually interested in them. And that person wasn't him. The sooner he caught them, the less it'd hurt them in the long run. He didn't want to hurt them more, so considering taking them as a friend was out of the question. That would leave the gift giver with a lot more emotional turmoil. But he wouldn't turn down friendship if he was wrong about their intentions. He glared at the wall after the bell had rung and classes started. He had gained a new personal distaste for world history. He was happy when the dismissal bell for the first period rang, happily getting up and collecting his stuff, leaving the classroom, heading to his locker and putting his textbook down for the next class and collecting the one for the next one. Before he headed to his next class, he paused at America's locker, sticking down another sticky note. It said, "Hey, beautiful. Are you a fruit? Because I believe we'd make a great pair." He couldn't help himself. America was beautiful, and if you were honest, from everything he'd heard about the little cutie, he was also his type. So he really wasn't lying with the flirt. He then backed away to see America's reaction to it. He watched as America grabbed the note, read it, and then went red in the face. He'd be lying if he said that he didn't like that reaction. He smiled a little as he saw America stick the note to the inside cover of the binder he was carrying. He'd noticed that America was keeping all of them, and he kind of liked knowing that America kept them. He hoped they were helping give America more confidence. He shook his head and started towards the room for his next class. He hummed to himself as he took a seat and waited for roll call, allowing himself to zone out while he waited for Miss Dackerman to get to him. He happily greeted her when she got to him, acknowledging that he was here. Once she had left, he glanced towards America. He noticed that America was cleaning something off of his desk and frowned, noticing that whatever it was made the other upset. So he took out a little piece of paper, writing, "Hey, are you doing all right there, cutie?" He could swallow his pride to make America feel better. Plus, he wasn't lying about being concerned, or that he thought America was a cutie. He was cute among other things. Sexy as fuck being one. Once he was marked present and had the work for class, he distracted himself with that. As soon as he was done with the work packet, he went back to looking at America. He noticed that little bit of red hair that stuck up in the side part of his hair. It seemed to have a mind of its own and move on its own accord, almost as though it went with his emotions. He smiled. Honestly, that was kind of cute. It was nice to have a way to read the cutie, as his eyes were covered. He couldn't really get that easy of a read on America. His body language seemed really controlled, and his eyes were fully covered. That photophobia was a damn shame because America had pretty eyes, and it shouldn't cause pain to see light. He shook his head a little to clear his thoughts. It wasn't long until the dismissal bell rang. He waited and watched as America got up and headed out of the classroom before he got up himself and collected the note on his desk. When he read it, he was more concerned than the cutie definitely wanted. The response read, "Someone just wrote stuff on my desk again. Again, nothing I'm not used to. Don't worry about me so much." He couldn't help but worry more about that. Telling someone to not worry kind of had the opposite effect. Especially with this sort of thing. Not that he could fault America. He sighed and headed to the lunchroom, tucking away the note into his bag. He sat down at a lunch table with Cuba, sighing a little. "I wish you would have told me how bad he was being bullied," Russia grumbled. "And who was responsible?" If I did that, I don't think there'd be anyone here, so I don't think I should," Cuba simply stated. "Then I'll get the information out of him myself, when I get to talk to him properly," Russia grumbled out the last part, well aware that he probably wouldn't have that in him for at least another week. Cuba sighed, and Russia went back to picking out his lunch. Eventually, lunch was over, and he headed to the gym building. During gym, they were going to be doing weight training. The small safety lecture was boring, but otherwise, the class went by pretty quickly. There wasn't much of note for him, though he found himself admittedly surprised by how much America seemed to be able to lift. It did not look like he had the muscles to back up what he was doing. It was impressive, but also baffling. America was lifting more than he weighed. That he was sure of. America looked like an entire twink, skinny as a stick. But he was lifting his own weight and then some. He let out a low whistle. "You done?" he heard Cuba say. He grumbled, dragging his gaze away from America. "How much is he even lifting?" "Probably 125 pounds. 57-ish kilos, if I were to guess." "His weight and a half," Cuba responded, leading them over to a machine. "Damn, he's strong," Russia absent-mindedly commented. "Yeah, real athletic. He could probably do lifting competitively. Don't know why he doesn't. Guess he just likes cheer too much." Russia shrugged and got himself into position. The rest of the class flew by, and so did the next one. It wasn't long before he was in practice, and they were doing their usual thing. His thoughts kept drifting to America, whenever he had time to let them wander. He was entirely fucked. And that is the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, I'd like to invite you to join the Discord, which is linked down in the description below. That being said, I hope you have a nice rest of your day, night, or whatever it is for you. Just enjoy your time. And I will see you tomorrow.